And now the much awaited, the talk from our beloved Effie Parks, and she will be sharing, I need that, I forgot the title. She'll be giving the talk on living with CTNNB1 syndrome, family perspectives on care and hope, which is very relevant to all our parents and the families. The floor is yours, Effie. You need a mic.
Oh, yeah.
You need that mic?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Okay. Thank you, Shivang. So as we wrap up day one, I just want to take a moment to reflect on all of the amazing presenters. Thank you so much. And the CTNNB1 community in general. Thank you, everyone, for being here and being so relentless and resilient and for pushing CTNNB1 forward. The future is bright. Like CTNNB1 is hot right now, okay? And as we close today and prepare for tomorrow, I want to share some personal stories that I hope you might be able to carry or might resonate with you as we step into the next chapter for our CTNNB1 community. Okay, and I know a lot of us don't get out much, but has anyone seen the new movie called Project Hail Mary? So good. Okay, so in this movie, Earth is facing something light years away that will eventually kill our sun and wipe out humanity. And a team of astronauts are preparing to get on this ship and leave everything that they know behind to try and save the world. And it's a one-way trip. They know this will take years to get to the location that they have to go to, and they're not going to have enough fuel to get back home. They're literally sacrificing their lives to save everyone. So Ryan Gosling, maybe you know him, he plays the super smart scientist who designed the whole thing, the protocols, the math, the journey. He's figured out the impossible for all of these astronauts to get this job done. And right before their launch, they're like walking down the hallway in a dramatic scene for like their final briefing. And Ryan looks at one of the scientists and he says, "I do not have the bravery gene that you all have." And that scientist looked right back at him and he said, "Trust me, it's not a gene. You just need someone to be brave for." And everyone in this room is here for that exact reason. For someone. I wasn't born with some magical bravery gene. Like you, I just had someone that I loved more than my own fear. And trust me, I think we've all seen enough genetic reports to know that the bravery gene is not there. Maybe there's an awesome gene. I've heard Bruno making an argument about it. He said it popped up on his genetic report as a VUS. But a VUS means a variant of unknown significance, Bruno. So the jury's still out and you can't claim that one. Anyways, when I think about where my own strength comes from, I always go back to something that my mom said to us growing up and still tells to us to this day. I'm one of 13 children. Yes, they're all hers. There was a lot of chaos in our house. There was a lot of personalities, and there were a lot of identities, and there was never enough bathrooms or hot water. And no matter what, if we were leaving the house, going to school, going to our friends, whatever, my mom would always say the same thing on our way out the door. She would say, "Remember who you are." If we called from the payphone in the school lobby asking to stay out late because the football game was in overtime, which was for sure a lie, she would still say, "Okay, remember who you are." At the time, as a teenager, I didn't really think that much about it. It was just something she said. It was a momism that went in one ear and out the other. Background noise for a teenager, really. And to be honest, to this day, all of my siblings and I still use that on each other anytime someone leaves, as a joke. But we mean it too. But now, after having a child with a rare disease, I realize how profound those words from my mom actually are. My mom wasn't just giving us all a reminder to be a good person. She was giving us an anchor and a compass. She was telling us that no matter where we went and no matter what choices we made, we always had a core and a sense of self that we could always go back to. But it was even more than the anchor. It became a spark. And it wasn't just about remembering who we were, it was about making choices that reflected that and letting it guide what we did and how we showed up for the world. It was something solid to hold on to, but it was also something that pushed us forward. And the phrase continues to shape me in ways I didn't really fully understand until I became Ford's mom. Because it's really easy in this life to lose yourself. The grief, the injustice of it all, the appointments, the therapies, the insurance battles, the fundraising, the research, the forms, the sleepless nights, they can swallow you whole. You become the scheduler, the case manager, the advocate, the coordinator, the everything. And sometimes you wake up and you realize that you forgot that there's still a person in there that loves sarcasm and belly laughing with friends and singing Tupac at the top of your lungs with the windows down. Remember who you are has become my reminder, and more so my mantra, to really hold on to those parts of myself. Because when I take care of myself, I am such a better person for my entire family. And I'm just better at managing all of it and happier. And it's also a reminder that this journey has made me someone new, an advocate, a fighter, someone who shows up for this community because I have to, and more importantly, because I choose to. And that brings me to a moment that taught me this in a way that I'll never forget. Years ago, we lived in this old condo, and the elevator was being replaced for no reason, and it was going to be out for 7 full weeks. And with a kid in a wheelchair, I was like, hello, help. I was on the 5th floor. I was livid. I was furious. I was emailing the building managers. I was stopping every neighbor in the hallway, just trying to have someone help me figure out how to make this happen. Like, can we postpone it and make some accommodations and figure it out? And that didn't work. So when the work started, I did what I have to do, like we all do. I would leave my toddler in my apartment, and I would head down the musty stairwell that smelled like 30-year-old cigarette smoke, and I would carry Ford's wheelchair all the way down to the lobby in his backpack. And then I'd run back upstairs, and I'd grab Ford, and I'd carry him. And as you know, carrying our kids is not like carrying a regular kid. Not only the dead weight from the hypotonia, but the dystonia and the spasticity. And caring for it is like carrying seriously an angry kangaroo in a sack. You're going down the stairs and you're negotiating with gravity, trying not to break either of your necks. You're getting smacked in the face. And I was pissy and annoyed and said a lot of bad words and was glad Ford couldn't repeat any of them. I hated those stairs. Until one day, halfway between the floors, Ford suddenly relaxed and he wrapped his arm around my neck and he nuzzled his head under my arm and he just held on like he was helping me. And it was one of those rare moments that never happens where I get a soft, calm hug. And I think it was Ford's way of letting me know that we were in this together. So I'm standing there in this disgusting stairwell, and it just hit me so hard, and I was like, holy shit. I'm not going to be able to carry my son forever. Not even for much longer. Soon he's going to be way too big and way too strong and way too grown. And this moment, this exact moment, will disappear. And so all of a sudden, I wasn't angry anymore. The stairs hadn't changed, and the situation hadn't changed, and nothing was fixed. But I remembered who I was. And I wasn't a woman fighting with the elevator people. I was Ford's mom, practicing to notice the glimmers along the way, and I was carrying my boy. And for the rest of those 7 weeks, it was different. It wasn't physically easier. The angry kangaroo came back most of the time. But I stopped counting the flights and I started paying attention to the gift of still being able to carry him. And this story reminds me of us, of our CTNNB1 community, because in some ways I think this community is standing in its own stairwell right now. For years we've been climbing. And if I'm honest, lots of us have been continuously pushed down the stairs several times. There were times when none of us knew exactly where those stairs were leading. We just knew that our kids deserved better. One small step at a time. And just like that, the stairwell, there's just moments that are unfair. Moments when we're exhausted, moments when we looked around and wondered why everyone else's life seems so much easier and have a little bit of a pity party, but then we keep climbing anyway because we have someone to carry. And for years, we've been raising money, making foundations, participating in natural history studies, giving blood, sharing our stories, traveling across the world, explaining CTNNB1 to people because we're the experts, meeting with the researchers, and pushing for better. We've spent years pushing and pulling and carrying this thing together. And now, for the first time, it feels like we can actually see the next floor. Not the final floor and not the finish line, but finally a real destination. And it's a place that we've been working toward together. This week here in Barcelona, we're going to hear updates about our gene therapy program tomorrow that exists because this community helped build it. Think about that for a second. Families from all over the world shared their stories, raised the money, participated in the research. Families believed this was possible before anyone else did. And because of that work, because of our presidents and all of the wonderful helpers, and this foundation refusing to stop pushing because researchers partnered with families, we're not just talking about awareness of CTNNB1 anymore. We're actively working on expanding our clinical development pipeline. We're expanding access to the gene therapy. We're creating more options for opportunities for the children who are here today and for the families that are coming after us. I think this moment requires a different kind of bravery. For years, we've been carrying the weight, and now we have something to be brave enough to imagine something different. And that's not always easy, because hope is weird. I think sometimes we imagine that hope is supposed to be comfortable, but hope is actually pretty terrifying, because hope means possibility, and possibility means uncertainty. And the closer things come to being real, I think the more vulnerable we become, and the stakes suddenly feel higher, and the questions get bigger, and the emotions get a little messier. And that's okay. Because bravery was never about not being scared. Bravery is hearing all of those fears and continuing anyway. Bravery is what this community has been practicing for years. Not just in the labs and in the meetings and in the fundraising campaigns, but at home, the everyday life, the therapy appointments, the hospital rooms, at your kitchen table, at 2 a.m., and on the hardest days. The barriers, the fears, the dragons in the corner, they're real. But they're also what wake us up and turn us into fighters. And the thing that gives me the most confidence about the future of CTNNB1 is not a single study or a single trial or a drug or a therapy right now. It's all of you in this room. Look what we've built. look at the science, look at the collaboration. The clinicians learning from families, the families learning from the scientists. This is what happens when ordinary people decide that their children deserve better and they refuse to stop. We're building a future together. So as we hear the updates this week, as we think about what comes next, and as we navigate all of the excitement and uncertainty that comes with progress, I will remind you again today from my mama to remember who you are and to remember who your child is. And remember what brought you here. Remember that this community, remember what we've already accomplished in such a short amount of time. Because the truth is we didn't get here because we had a roadmap. We got here because every time the elevator was broken, somebody picked up what was heavy and started climbing. And when enough families do that together, extraordinary things happen, obviously. Remember that every major step forward in CTNNB1 syndrome has happened because ordinary people decided to do extraordinary things for someone they loved. There's no bravery gene. There never was. There are just people like us. People who found someone worth being brave for. So thank you so much for being here. I know how hard it is to get here. Thank you for believing in something bigger than yourselves. And thank you for helping to build what's coming next. And thank you for being brave for someone. So remember who you are and keep being brave. Thank you.